Hey guys, Shane Stars with DroidModderX.com, and as you well know, Samsung just finished their unveiling of the Samsung Galaxy S4. This is one of the most anticipated devices. I can't wait till it releases. There's tons and tons of new features coming to this device. It is apparent that Samsung is trying to separate themselves from other OEMs. Some have even said they're trying to separate themselves from Google. I'm going to show you what it's all about. So a lot of folks are upset about Samsung's design on the S4. It's not too much different from the S3. It does take some cues from the Note 2, in my opinion. Instead of having the more rounded edges here, it kind of has more of a square looking feel. Other than that, it really does look a whole lot like the Galaxy S3. In fact, if you hold an S3 directly beside an S4, you may not know the difference. Now, most of the people that have held this device say that it does feel more high-end. They did announce that it is built with polycarbonate, so it gives it less of a plasticky feel, or at least that's what people have said, that it has more of a high-end, solid build. We do know that it is slimmer at 7.9 millimeters than the S3. It is also a little bit lighter at 130 grams, but it does retain much of the same look and feel as the Galaxy S3. Now, the screen has been changed in a pretty big way. It goes from a 4.8-inch display up to a 5-inch display. With that display increasing in size, the phone itself does not really increase in size and height and width because the screen is more of an edge-to-edge display. Now, that 5-inch display is a 1080p full high-definition Super AMOLED display, which is said to be very bright and brilliant and super clear. It is nearly unmatched in clarity with a pixel density of 441. The only other device out there right now that can stand with it is the Droid DNA on Verizon and HTC's One, which actually has a little higher pixel density at 463 ppi. Now, Samsung has always touted their camera as being top of the industry, and they have also included spec bumps in this device. So on the Note 2 and also on the Galaxy S3, we have an 8 megapixel rear facing camera. On the S4, we're going to have a 13 megapixel rear facing camera. Now, we live in a world where megapixels are not really as important as they used to be. In fact, HTC's One phone is going reverse in megapixels. Their phone's going to have 4 megapixels, or 4 ultra pixels as they would call it. Where HTC is looking more to increase the quality of images taken, Samsung's just throwing more megapixels at that thing. So it'll be interesting to see who has the best rear-facing camera between the S4 and the HTC One. I hope to get each of those phones, and I will do some camera tests for you guys if that happens. To me, the biggest camera spec bump was actually in the front-facing camera. It's a 2 megapixel camera, so it goes from a 1.3 megapixel camera to a 2 megapixel camera. I know you're thinking that's not much of a difference, but the huge increase here is that we're going from a 720p camera to a 1080p camera. Especially for anybody that does videos all the time, or if you do any blogging, 1080p camera on the front-facing camera is actually an awesome thing. The battery in the Galaxy S4 is going to be quite a bit bigger at 2600 milliamp hours. That's 500 more milliamp hours than in the S3, and that's going to be needed because we're running on a quad-core processor now, and it's going to have LTE. I really don't think that the screen or the LTE is going to make that much of a difference on this S4, considering that the S3 already had LTE. All we're dealing with here is a little bit larger of a screen with the 1080p, and currently I'm able to get, 10 to 12 hours of use on my Droid DNA, and it has a much smaller battery. So in my mind, 2600 milliamp hours should be plenty for this device. The phone comes with the standard 2 gigabytes of RAM. It also comes with the option of 16, 32, and 64 gigabytes of internal storage with an expandable SD card slot up to 64 gigabytes. This gives you the potential of having 128 gigabytes in your phone. That's ridiculous. Now, the processor didn't seem to be that important to Samsung because during the presentation they didn't even mention it. And I'm kind of getting the feeling that they're getting away from pushing hardware, and they're going more towards software, because it's getting to the point where you bump your specs in hardware, people get upset, they're like, wow, it's just a little bit better, it's not much better, we're not seeing these revolutionary leaps and bounds like we did in the past. And so I'm thinking, instead of disappointing consumers with minor spec bumps, they're looking to really impress with the features. The processor in the international build is going to be the Exynos 5 octa-core, and I wish that we could see that in the States. With the Note 2, we have an Exynos processor, so I really don't know why Samsung couldn't get the Exynos processor in the United States version. Maybe it was just cheaper. In the United States, we're looking at the Qualcomm 600 clocked at 1.9 gigahertz. And that's a quad-core processor, and that should be plenty of juice for the next couple of years on your Galaxy S4. So it's like I said, Samsung is really trying to separate themselves from other OEMs and even Google in their features, and they announced a ton of new features. Some of the features are really awesome, some of them are mediocre, and some of them are just plain gimmicky. A couple of new features that I am looking forward to include Group Play. So what Group Play does is it allows you to sync your phones together without the use of a wireless network. You're not going to need your data connection or Bluetooth. It just allows you to connect to another Galaxy S4 or maybe possibly in the future Galaxy S3s and Note 2s, Note 3s, whatever. And you can share things like music, so you can sync all the phones together, and if you had like 8 phones in a room, everybody can listen to the same song played from 8 different speakers. So that's a pretty neat feature. You'll also be able to simultaneously play a game on different devices, once again without the use of wireless network, without data connection or Bluetooth, which is pretty outstanding. AirView seems gimmicky, but I'm kind of interested in it. On my Note 2, the S Pen has that functionality where you can wave the S Pen above the phone and it lets you preview pictures, videos, or links without actually clicking on those things and taking yourself into like say just that picture or that video. You can look at it from the page that you're on without actually moving forward or advancing to the next thing. So I kind of like that, and I'm looking forward to that on the S4 without the S Pen. The cool thing about AirView is that you'll be able to kind of use your hand to gesture, swipe up in a page or swipe down in a page, and that's pretty neat, although you really could just use your fingers. So in that sense, it seems kind of gimmicky, but your friends will be impressed. They also announced a lot of new camera software that will be included in the S4. Sound and Shot allows you to capture audio to go with an image, so it brings a little more life to the image. Instead of just seeing the image, you'll be able to hear like your young daughter's voice as she laughs. It's one of the demonstrations that they gave, and I can see how that would be neat. They included Cinema Photo, which allows you to basically automatically make a GIF. So I don't know where I would personally use that, but maybe that's something that you would use. Dual Shot is another one of those features that really seems very gimmicky, because what it allows you to do is use the rear-facing camera and the front-facing camera, so you can kind of take a picture of yourself taking a picture, and then you can kind of include yourself into that picture. So, I mean, I guess I can see families on vacation, we can't find anybody to take a picture of all of us. I really want to be in the shot, so this allows you to do that. Do you really want to box inside of that awesome picture with your face in there? Does that kind of make you look clingy? Does that kind of make you look needy? I don't know. That's up to you. Would you really use that feature if you had it? I don't know that I would. Dual recording also looked gimmicky, but in some of the demonstrations that I saw, I really kind of see how I could use it myself, because I remember whenever my daughter began to walk, and every time she would do it, I would record it. But there's nowhere where I have like shots of myself and the reaction that I gave, and I kind of would like to see that. So the dual recording allows you to take a picture of you taking a picture of something very important. So you can take a video of yourself watching your daughter walk for the first time, and I mean, saving those moments really could be awesome. I don't really see where else I would use it. So there are several other gimmicky things. They have S-Translate, which we already have Google Translate. They had Watch On, which utilizes the IR blaster inside of the phone, which I guess that's pretty neat, a universal controller inside your phone. And then the list of features just goes on and on and on. We're not going to talk about everything, but I did want to get to availability. This phone will be available overseas in April. Like always, it's going to go international first, and then it'll come stateside in May, more than likely, on Sprint, AT&T, and T-Mobile, but Verizon users probably won't see it until a month after everyone else sees it. Now, that's nothing new. We know that Verizon normally gets things later. The Note 2, we got that about a month after everyone else, so that's kind of to be expected. Now, this is very much a top-of-the-line phone, but in my mind, this is like a $199 on contract, $599 off contract. If they do anything different than that, I will be surprised. I would not be surprised to see Verizon offer it for $299 on, $650 off like they did with the Note 2. But then again, what are they going to do with the Note 3 when it comes out if they go $299, $650? I really don't know if people are going to pay the $299 for a phone like this, although it will be top of the line, and no matter what they do, they're going to sell millions. So what do you guys think? Is this the phone for you? Is this what you're going out to get in, May or June, or are you going with the HTC One when it comes out? Let me know in the comments. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this in the future. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.